Welcome to the Rainy Day Rabbit Holes podcast, your escape from the mundane.
Dive into the rich history of the Pacific Northwest with us and let your mind wander down the rabbit hole.
Because in the Northwest, it's always raining something weird. I'm Shea.
And I'm Jody.
Let's fall down the rabbit hole. Welcome back to Rainy Day Rabbit Holes. We have a very special episode for you guys today. We have my good friend from the Audibly Haunted podcast, Ani Kajadorian, joining us. Hi, Ani.
How's it going, ladies?
It's going great.
Yeah.
We're so excited to have you on.
I am super excited. This has actually been in the works for a minute, so and it's my first collab too, so it's all kind of firsts, and I'm super excited right now. I'm really excited.
Collabs are one of our favorite things.
They are our favorite. I'm so glad you're in on one, and we're your first.
I know.
This is the
you
unexpected.
Guys are my first.
We like to be the first.
You're a collab virgin. We are popping your cherry.
I was going to let you take that. It's been in my mind since she said it was her first one. I was waiting for you to jump on it.
I'm glad we're all on the same page there.
Yes.
So Ani and I decided that it would be a really fun thing for us to come together to do some great content for spooky season.
Heck yeah.
Now, Ani's podcast is generally a little bit more on the spooky side. When she gets into a lot of mysterious literature and spooky stories with her beautiful storytelling and great production quality, really draws me in. I love your podcast so much. So I'm excited to kind of dip our toe into your genre a little bit with some spooky tales.
Yes.
Same. This is, for my show, it is just me. So this is so different doing it with co-hosts, and it's such a change up, and I'm really, really very happy about this. I'm in new territory right now, so I'm a little giddy.
Is it lonely to do it by yourself? I don't know. I have so much fun with Shea. Like that makes that makes the joy to the whole gig.
Sometimes, I'll record by myself at night, and sometimes I'll scare myself,
Oh yes, you're when I wrote my ghost story the other night, it was also at night, and I was getting a little scared, and then my cat came in, and he just was like ears back, looking around, looking in the corners, up in the corners, like he could see something. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I channel a ghost?
So there are some episodes I've done that deal with maybe the devil or like demons or things like that, and then for the rest of the night, the pile of clothes I have on my chair scare me. I start scaring myself. I'll go get water. I'll turn all of the lights on in the house, because I've genuinely spooked myself.
Oh, that's amazing.
Like an open door, you're like expecting someone to just be standing there.
Yeah. There's been times where I'm recording, my subject matter is quite frightening, and then my dog will walk in and my door will slowly open, but I can only see the reflection in my window.
Right.
But I don't see my dog, and then I'll look down and my heart's a flutter. It's maybe if I had a co-host, it wouldn't be so scary.
Right.
But I definitely scare the pants off myself sometimes.
Well, Jody was telling me something she learned today is that when you're writing anything, especially when you're like doing a business, and I guess it would apply to podcasts too, is to have a picture of your ideal customer and write towards them. And so she says and read towards them. When she does videos, she has a picture of me up there. So maybe what you need is a picture of me and Jody.
I'm going to frame it.
Yeah,
frame a picture of each of you above my desk.
Yeah, so that way when you do your episodes, you're really telling the story to Jody and I. What do you think about that?
You know what? Deal. I'm
right.
printing out your pictures right now.
And you can text us when you get scared, and we'll talk you through it.
There you go.
We're on the same time zone. We can do that.
Right? It's the buddy system. I appreciate y'all.
Well, I hope this is also an opportunity for your listeners to hear you in a more personal way as well. Breaking out of the just straight storyteller mode that your podcast is, and get to know you a little bit more, the person behind the amazing voice. So I
Yeah,
hope that your
hopefully.
listeners and our listeners like this.
Wonderful. I hope so too.
All right. Well, what do you think? Are we ready to get into some spooky stories?
I'm ready.
All right.
I am ready, Freddy.
So Jody and I, me, Shea, we are going to bring a story from the beautiful Pacific Northwest. And here we go.
Oh, one more thing about this. I don't know this story. When Shea and I do this, whoever story it is, we don't tell the other person. So I hear it. I'm hearing it just like you. I don't know anything about it. So
Sweet.
The way I like it.
yeah.
Sweet.
Okay. Here we go. The national parks of the United States are real treasures, steeped in history and wonder. And here in the beautiful Pacific Northwest, no national park is as treasured as the vast wilderness of the Olympic National Park. Known for its mind-boggling beauty, majestic rainforests, and soaring mountains, it is also a place of mystery and a harbor for the unknown.
Boom, boom, boom.
Ooh.
Oh, I like that one.
Thank you. I need those.
Yeah.
Not only are most of the Pacific Northwest's Bigfoot and Bat Squatch sightings located in the park.
The hell is a bat squatch?
All right.
That's going to be another episode, guys. Bat Squatch. Not only are most of those sightings located in the park, but it is home to eerie places like Goblin's Gate, where mysterious rock formations look hauntingly like goblin faces with tortured expressions. The first official flying saucer tale comes from this area, where Kenneth Arnold saw 9 crescent-shaped flying objects speeding past Mount Rainier.
Is that not Starlink?
I still think it was some pelicans.
Okay.
You can hear all about that in our episode, The Summer of Saucers. You gotta go back. But by far, the most chilling and famous sighting within the Olympic National Park occurs around Lake Crescent. This cold, deep, glacially carved clear lake sits off of Highway 101, just a few miles from the shores of the Strait of Juan de Fuca. And you got to go listen to our episode Pig Wars to learn why there are so many Spanish names in the Pacific Northwest. Also, Orcas Island, not named after the animal. Very weird.
Really?
It's named after the guy that the Strait of Juan de Fuca is named after because Horcasitas is one of his 12 names.
Oh, Jesus.
And Orcas is apparently just a shortening of Horcasitas. And I do emphasize the hork.
I was about to say, I'm very envious of that.
Like hork.
Your horcasitas.
Horcasitas. Actually, I think I did a pretty good job of that pronunciation that one time, and it's never going to happen again. I even rolled my R's.
Oh, yeah.
This 12-mile-long lake is surrounded by towering trees, is home to 2 breathtaking lodges, and is a must-see destination. For decades, it was rumored that the lake was bottomless, then 1,000 feet deep. But finally, science hippies have let us know that it is around 624 feet deep. Still, deep enough that if you drop your phone in there, it's gone forever.
Forever.
Yeah.
Ooh, might as well be endless.
Exactly. This lake, like so many of our beloved PNW treasures, was sacred to the native peoples who lived here for centuries before colonists arrived. I also think we can't have an episode without digging on the colonists.
Right. Definitely.
So the Sklallam people were descendants of the Coast Salish First Nations, well established in the Puget Sound Basin and surrounding areas since 2400 BC. Long ago, the Sklallam and Quileute peoples, and I really hope I'm pronouncing those correctly. I wrote out the pronunciation. So, hey guys, email me if I pronounced it wrong, but make sure you tell me how to pronounce it. Don't just tell me I did it wrong.
You're wrong, Shea.
An
You're
internet
wrong.
troll email. You're
you.
wrong, period.
Thank you. So these 2 groups of people were engaged in a fierce battle along a small river that lasted 3 days. The battle, not the river. Just want to make that clear. As the two groups were fighting, it was said that Mount Storm King, a 4,537-foot mountain rising above the lake, got angry at the warring tribes. By the way, Mount Storm King sounds like what I would have called my cat.
Right. Because you have a storm cat.
His name was Storm, and I always told him he was a king.
So you kind of did name him Mount Storm King.
I know.
On accident.
He was a king of cats. This Mount Storm King got angry at the warring tribes. In its rage at this foolish fighting, the mountain threw a massive boulder that killed all of the warriors. The boulder was so huge that it formed a dam in the river and backed it up, forming Lake Crescent. For generations, tribal members would not visit the location that so many of their relatives were killed. Geological history adds some weight to this legend. According to geologists, those are our science hippies, a massive landslide separated Lake Crescent and Lake Sutherland around 8,000 years ago and cut off Lake Crescent from major inflows. Without water coming in, the lake lacks the necessary plant nutrients that are responsible for algae that causes cloudiness. This is why it's so clear. The depth of the lake, which at points, like we said, have been rumored to be bottomless or 2,000 feet deep, but really not much more than 600, has contributed to many mysteries over the years.
Bum, bum, bum.
Thank you.
So these are theories, or is...
Well, no, that was the legend of how the lake was
Those
formed.
were like the Indian,
Right.
Yes.
native legends.
Yeah, so now we're getting into the mysteries. Okay. In 1929, Russell and Blanche Warren were motoring around the lake in their 1927 Chevy, enjoying the early July weather. Blanche had been very ill and had been admitted to the Port Angeles Hospital in June, and on July 3rd, Russell had driven out to Port Angeles from their home in Forks. Yes, that's Twilight Forks.
That is, and it's kind of far.
It is, and it's actually really a boring town.
I had fun there.
Did you? I don't know. It's kind of boring to me. Sorry,
I
all the
stayed
Twilight
overnight
lovers.
at a bar.
You're breaking my heart. I wanted to go there. Is it really boring?
No, I mean, I think because you don't live in the Pacific Northwest, that it will be very charming.
Yeah.
I think
I'm trying
if
to
you
live my best Twilight life.
Okay,
so
well then I
kinda
won't
wanna
ruin it
go.
for you. I'm sorry. Look at me go. Look at me
Yeah.
ruining everything again.
Well, and they didn't film it there, but the story does take place there. I think you'd have fun
Yeah.
still going.
Yeah.
I had a good time, but also I like boring places. It's got a lot of history. It's out in the Olympic National Forest.
Right.
We were out hiking. That's why we come in and stay there.
Yeah. Okay. There's a lot of like more cute historic towns out here, but it's fine, I guess. I don't know.
I've been to a few. I've been to a few out there. Forks and like La Push was like 2 hours away, so we couldn't go.
Yeah, it's kind of a haul. You have to be like
Yeah.
dedicated to go
You gotta-
out to that part. Yeah.
You really gotta want it.
Yeah. The Olympic National Forest and the ocean are not anywhere near Seattle or Tacoma. And I think people think that, I'm going to go visit Seattle. And while I'm there,
Right? Yeah, no, it's like a 4-hour drive.
Yeah. 4 hours of windy roads in the
Yes.
Oh,
mountains.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were on their way back to Forks. So he went out to pick her up at the hospital, and they were on their way back. They also made a quick stop to pick up a new washing machine on their way home. Unfortunately, they were never heard from again.
whoa.
Law enforcement was baffled, and the mystery of their disappearance wasn't solved for 75 years. In late 2001, some drivers were exploring the lake when they found the lid of an old washing machine. Intrigued, they returned the next year to look deeper. Around 160 to 170 feet below the surface of the lake, they found the Warrens' 1927 Chevy.
Oh, I remember this. I remember when this
This
happened.
is so creepy.
They found no human remains in the car.
The fish ate him.
I was going to say, did that? Yeah. So that was in 1929, right?
1927 Chevy.
But what year did this happen?
It happened in 1929. Yes.
Yes. And then so it's 2001. So wow.
2 years later,
Yep.
the
70 years.
drivers returned to search deeper, and they found Russell's skull about 20 feet
Oh.
deeper in the muck.
So something took off with
Yeah.
him.
What is big enough that could drag a human body out of
Loch
water?
Ness.
Oh my God. I'm never going in that lake.
It's a big sturgeon. Oh wait,
I've gone in that lake. It's creepy.
Oh, you have?
You've been in Lake
I
Crescent?
have been in Lake Crescent.
And you didn't get the forks?
And you're
I
just
know.
telling us
Tell me
this
about it.
now?
Neither of us have, and you've been there. This is crazy.
I love Lake Crescent. Was incredible. I canoed in it.
It's beautiful.
And you would put your hands in it and your hands would disappear because it's kind of murky. And then you would, I thought something was going to bite my fingers.
Oh my gosh.
So I quickly brought them back into the boat.
I am deathly afraid of water that I cannot see into. So, and I love to paddleboard, but I like to be on top of the water, not in the water. Yeah. And I have a friend that swims in the Puget Sound. Like, she will swim in anything.
Oh no.
Yeah. And I'm just like,
No.
You're crazy, girl. Her name is also Shea, but she's the adventurous younger Shea.
Shea too.
Yes. Shea Jr. is much more adventurous than me. So in
crazy.
Right. I love you, Shea. That sounds like I'm saying it to myself.
I love you, Shays. That's for me.
Shea the younger. In 1960, the lake claimed another victim at the same bend in the highway. Dale Steele and his passenger Beverly Sherman went off the road in Dale's 1950 Dodge sedan. Beverly was able to break a window and escape, but Dale drowned in the dark, cold depths.
Okay, Ani, you've been there. Why are these people driving off the road? Is it?
Hell if I know. We took them. We took those turns real slow.
Yeah.
It's windy with no guardrail.
Windy with no guardrail. These are older cars too. They don't probably have the great control. And yeah.
But before we get into the spookiest mystery of Lake Crescent, let's hear from our haunting sponsors.
Ooh.
Welcome back, listeners. And hey, just to let you know, if you want to listen to our episodes ad-free, you can join our Patreon. For just $5 a month, you get ad-free episodes a day early, bonus episodes, and if you sign up before the end of October, we'll send you a sticker.
I had a friend tell me when they signed up for the Patreon, all of a sudden their house was just always clean all the time.
Oh my God, I forgot about that.
It's just like magic.
Yeah, I know, it's amazing. And their teeth were whiter too. I know, it's amazing.
Maybe I'll join the Patreon.
You told me yesterday you were going to join the Patreon because you didn't want to listen to ads. And I was like, you're one of the podcasters. I can just give you the ad-free episodes.
I hate ads.
Do not spend your money. Then it's going to get double taxed. And then you're giving half. Okay, you're paying yourself.
On and on and on why that's a bad idea.
The most baffling mystery of Lake Crescent is the disappearance of Haley Illingworth. She was a waitress in Port Angeles, Washington, and on her third marriage. What a hussy.
Yeah. And what year? What year again? 1980. Yeah, that seems right.
No, this was the 1930s.
Oh, yeah.
I did not actually put a date in there. That would have been helpful.
Was she not? She wasn't burned at the
Third
stake.
marriage, 1930s.
I mean, a guy would marry her for the third time.
She didn't have a giant scarlet letter on her forehead.
Something. Labeling her.
Shunned.
Yeah,
Shunned was
somewhere.
shunned out of the neighborhood.
She was definitely a hussy. At the time, she was married to a beer truck driver who was reputed to be a ladies' man. And as their marriage was described as volatile, I'm going to assume it was also violent. That's what volatile means. The police had been called multiple times, and she had showed up to work several times with bruises on her face and arms, and sometimes even black eyes. So she had met this piece of garbage, Monty Illingworth.
I was going to say, he seems nice.
Yeah.
Quite the upstanding citizen.
What a great third marriage.
She was a picker.
Yeah.
She knew how to pick them.
She met Monty Illingworth when she was working at the Lake Crescent Tavern. About 3 years after moving to the area around Christmas of 1937, she failed to show up for work. Her garbage husband claimed that she had run away with another man. But as the months dragged on and none of Haley's close-knit family had heard from her, Monty apparently gave up hope. So he decided to move to California with a woman he had begun seeing before his wife had disappeared.
Like a true abuser, he used her ability to, or her history of marrying multiple men to act like she just ran away with someone else.
Exactly.
So he could run away with his little sad hussy.
Oh, you know what I also just realized? I just connected us to California.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
I didn't even do that on purpose. Look at me.
Look at us go.
But on July 6th, 1940, 2 men were fishing on Lake Crescent when they made a gruesome catch. They discovered a human body floating on the surface of the lake. It was almost unrecognizable as human. It was wrapped in decaying fabric and rope, and the body had an unusual appearance. It looked like the body, missing most of its face and the tips of its fingers, had been carved from a block of ivory soap.
Oh, weird. So she was just solid white.
Yeah.
She was just smooth.
There was no way to get fingerprints and no way to determine who the body was. Due to the particular minerals of the clear, cold lake, the fats in the body had firmed into a whitish, waxy substance
weird.
that could be scooped away like putty in a process called saponification.
Oh, yeah.
Lord.
Wow. So
She turned into a body of she turned into a bar of like shower soap.
Yeah.
they could have put her like in the wax museum.
I know. And it preserves the body.
Yeah,
too.
that's
She would have been
crazy.
perfectly fine.
That's
Yeah.
crazy. Have you heard about that happening, Ani?
No.
I've not heard of that. Saponification I've heard of, but like not an entire body.
Yeah, I guess it's the particular minerals and properties of the
Wow.
lake.
Mhm.
And so then the lakes, because that lake is near freezing, it kept that body preserved for years. So according,
Down deep at the bottom.
yeah,
And then all of a sudden she pops up.
well, and we'll get into why.
All right.
So according to a local pathologist, if you could ever get down into the underground stream that flows from Lake Crescent to Lake Sutherland, and this is according to Dr. Charles P. Larson, a Tacoma-based pathologist who assisted with the Illingworth examination, you would probably find from 50 to 100 bodies, all of which have turned to soap.
Whoa.
So it's like a wax museum under the water.
Oh my gosh, yes.
That's so creepy.
Madame
That's so
Tussauds,
weird.
they could start selling tickets.
Yeah.
They don't
Tickets
have to
and a
do
scuba
anything.
tank.
Yeah.
Wait, they could get that guy with the submersible? Oh, no.
Yeah, can't do that.
Oh, too soon.
Now I bet that one would have worked there. It didn't go as deep.
I know. when you only have to go 200 feet deep, I think you would have been fine. So little was left in the way of identifying features, but she did have a distinctive upper dental plate, which led investigators to identify the body as Haley Illingworth. Her husband, Morty, was finally arrested in Long Beach, California on October 26, 1941. So she went missing in 37.
Hmm.
So he was brought back to Port Angeles for the trial. He tried to claim that the body was not Haley and that she was still alive the last time he had seen her. But friends of Haley identified the clothes she was wearing, plus there was the testimony from her dentist. But the key piece of evidence was the rope that bound the woman's body. Monty had borrowed 50 feet of rope from the owner of a store in Lake Crescent, and the fibers from the rope around Haley's body matched remnants of the rope that was still at the store.
So when you say he borrowed 50 feet of rope from the owner of this, did he
Never
steal it? Was he
gave it back.
shoplifting?
I borrowed it from him. He's like, "Hey, Bob, can I borrow some rope?"
And did Bob testify that this never got returned?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
So the investigators believed that Monty and Haley had a terrible fight that ill-fated night in December of 1937. They surmised that Monty beat and strangled Haley, put her in his truck, and drove to the Crescent Lodge. And there, he wrapped her body in blankets and rope, attached weights to the bundle, and dropped her body into the lake from a rowboat. So she was probably at the bottom of the lake until those ropes had rotted away enough to break free from the weights, and then she floated up.
Wow. That is
Hot
crazy.
diggity.
So Monty was found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. He was paroled from the Walla Walla State Penitentiary in 1951 after serving only 9 years. So nice that you can murder your wife and only go to prison
9
for 9
years.
Yeah, it was like a slap on the wrist back in the day.
Right.
I bet the prison was not as nice as it is now, though.
Oh God, I'm sure it was terrible.
It was real punishment back then.
Should have sent him to McNeil Island.
Yeah.
As if finding a body that appeared to be made out of soap wasn't spooky enough, it appears that Haley still haunts the lake. Guests at the lodge sometimes see her apparition floating down the stairs or will hear her footsteps clattering up and down those stairs. Lights will flicker, doors will slam shut, and the music in the lounge will get louder and louder with no one touching the volume. Sometimes her translucent and glowing form can be seen drifting along the shore of the lake and over the surface of the water. So, if you ever get the chance to visit the Olympic National Park in beautiful Washington State, take a little drive out to Lake Crescent. Maybe you will be lucky enough to catch a glimpse of the Lady of the Lake. Boom, boom, boom.
Ooh, that was a good story.
That was a good one.
My husband spent a lot of time there when he was a kid, and he's always one saying, "We got to go there. I got to take you there. I got to take you there." It was funny
Honestly,
that you were there but didn't go to Forks, and I was in Forks and didn't go there.
We actually went to the lodge. I'm pretty sure that was a lodge we went to, but we rented or we walked in front of it. We didn't go inside. There was a bunch of people like in the water and stuff, and then we went across, and that's where we got our canoes and kayaks. And I kid you not, the water around this lake, like while you're in it, like you feel like 1,000 eyes are watching you while you're in it.
Weird.
It's a very eerie situation when you're in the water, and then all of a sudden wind will pick up, and it got to the point where we almost couldn't control the canoe we were in. Like we thought we were going to have to like blow the whistle for them to come get us.
Oh, wow.
But luckily we made it to the shore. But if you do get a chance to go, I recommend it 100%.
That's awesome. Yeah, I really want to go out there, but I don't want to go in the water, especially now that I know what weird soapy bodies are in there.
Right?
That's creepy.
Yeah, no, that actually I didn't know. And had I known, I probably wouldn't have gone in.
Right.
It would have been a different experience for sure.
I'll appreciate it from the shore. Thank you very much.
Yeah. They're going to pull your feet, pull you down like the bodies in Harry Potter when they're in the island with Dumbledore. I don't know if you guys...
Oh,
I
yeah.
haven't seen the movies. I've read the
remember
books,
that.
but not seen the
Yeah.
movies. Yeah.
Well, I think it's time for a spooky tale from the Golden State. But first, I think that we should hear from our golden sponsors. Welcome back, everyone. And remember that if you don't want to hear these ads, you can join our Patreon. We have $5 a month. You already know what that gets you. But for $10 a month, you might get a special gift. And for $20 a month, you're going to get a limited edition special piece of merchandise, which if you sign up before October 31st, you'll get a fist.
That's the new
If
day
you do
they
that, I'll
added to
punch
the
Shea
calendar.
with my fist.
Thank you. Is that what we're selling now on the Patreon? As if you sign up for $20,
Right,
Jody will punch me
right in the
where?
arm. Right in the arm. I will only do right in the
They
arm.
don't get to pick
Well, I didn't want to be that mean.
like a knuckle sandwich. Is that what they get? From Jody to me, and we'll film it and send it to them. This sounds like we're filming weird porn, so let's just stop while we're ahead.
Is this OnlyFans or Jackass?
Right? We will send you a picture of one of our feet, and then you have to decide which one it is.
Yeah,
Now we
yeah.
are definitely getting to OnlyFans territory.
You guys just got yourself a lot of users,
Right?
just with that line alone.
I'll give you some feet. Okay. All right, Ani. We're very excited. We have no idea what you're going to tell us today. So we're going to sit back and relax.
It's my favorite
Yes.
time to be the listener and get to hear these stories. It's great.
I'm going to
I can't wait
unbuckle
to
my
hear
pants.
Ani's. Get
Ooh, I get to entertain
All right.
the hosts now.
All right, let's
All
hear
right.
it.
So I bring you guys a story that comes from California, my home state. So when you think of California, the first thing that comes to mind is Los Angeles. When you think of LA, you think Hollywood.
Traffic.
You know what? Yeah.
Sorry, you went
Honesty?
honesty? Traffic.
You know, give me full honesty and transparency. I sat in nothing but traffic today. Well, when you think of LA, you think Hollywood and traffic. What is the most iconic thing about LA and Hollywood? That would be the thing that sits high on the top of Mount Lee within Griffith Park. Beaming white in the West Coast sun to the kooks and crazies and everyday commuters is the iconic Hollywood sign.
Also some smog. Sorry.
You're right. You know, until the smog clears, it's not very white.
There's a thing we say in the between us or with our husbands or in our group. Shea ruins everything.
Hey, I don't need to ruin LA. It was already ruined. Look, I used to live out there.
She's out here doing her thing, ruining everything.
It's like
poor Ani.
I released. No, you're good. I released all my big balloons, and Shea went whoop and popped it with a balloon.
Okay, I'm so sorry. We digress.
No, you're good.
We're so ruining your beautifully written story.
No, but this is what I signed up for. I want to get the co-host feel, you know?
Yeah.
But what do you do when you survive the almost 90-degree hike up to the sign and standing on the big H is a woman dressed in white? You think, are my eyes playing tricks? Is this some sort of Hollywood smoke and mirror effect? The Hollywood sign, an iconic symbol of the film industry. But it is not really known that it is steeped in eerie tales of hauntings and ghostly encounters. Witnesses have reported sightings of a woman in vintage clothing wandering the hills, often accompanied by an unsettling chill in the air.
Did they say what era of clothing?
This is 30s.
Okay, cool. Okay, thank you. I just had to put the picture in my head.
So yeah. Let's picture it. She's in all white, but it is a 30s outfit.
Okay.
Think, short hair, wavy, 30s.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Flapper girl.
Total flapper, yeah. Other accounts include strange sounds, unexplained lights, and the feeling of being watched, especially at night. These supernatural stories add a chilling layer to the glitzy allure of Hollywood, reminding visitors that even in a place known for dreams, darkness can linger. This brings us to the subject of our story today. May I introduce you all to Miss Millicent Lillian Entwistle.
What?
Entwistle. Oh my God. Let me say that name. Yeah.
I don't know.
Entwistle.
Can anybody say that name?
Entwistle.
So Miss Maleficent Lillian Entwistle, or better known as Miss Peggy Entwistle.
Oh, that's easier. Yes. Is her first name
Peggy
really
is much easier.
Maleficent? Wait.
No, Millicent.
Millicent.
Millicent. Oh my God. I was just like.
I was thinking when you said it, I haven't heard that name in so long. Like,
so talk about an old timey name that's like gone totally out of fashion.
Oh my
Millicent.
goodness.
I'm gonna have to tell my kids.
Yes. Next baby, Millicent. And wait. Okay, say the name one more time because it's already fallen out of my head.
So Peggy Entwistle.
Entwistle. What an interesting last name too. Okay, Peggy.
Totally interesting.
Let's just call her Peggy from now on.
What is Peggy?
Peg.
Legend has it that the spirit of Peggy, a troubled actress who tragically took her life in 1932, roams the area around the sign. But let's start things off at the top. The Hollywood sign. Did you know that it originally read Hollywood Land? Built in 1923. Yeah, it said Hollywood Land. It was all across the hillside. Yep, in 1923. It was built to advertise the real estate that was growing, to draw people kind of coming into the Hollywood city out of like the suburbs nearby. So it was trying to draw people into Hollywood. So what's the best way of doing it? Let's put a big old sign in the hillside. So that's it was for real estate advertisement. In those early days, in true Hollywood fashion, the entire sign was studded with 4,000 light bulbs. So talk about some serious light pollution.
No kidding.
And it would flash in true Hollywood style. It would flash in 3 segments: Hollywood Land. Over and over, all night long. You're trying to attract people to your neighborhood, and then you're just going to keep them all up all night.
Right,
You know,
right.
the sun never goes away.
I can't live there.
That's so obnoxious.
That's hilarious.
Like it's a new, like, you know, Hollywood theater play, Hollywood Land, over and over. Though through the years, as weather and earthquakes caused damage to the sign, the segment on the end spelling land was removed in 1949. So that's why you just have Hollywood now listed, you know, across the mountainside.
So did the people building the housing development put up that sign? They paid for it, I'm assuming, right? And
I'd imagine.
And put into action that, yeah. And then now the city of Hollywood just gets to keep the Hollywood piece, right? That's amazing.
I think it's deemed historical now.
Yeah,
so like, even if they
crazy.
ever wanted to get rid of it, they couldn't.
It absolutely is historical.
I wonder who owns that land.
I think it's just the city.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's like a. To my guess, to my little knowledge of the land, I'm pretty sure it's just owned by California now, or Los Angeles.
I need you to know that I have always
You know what?
wondered why they put that sign there and who did it. And, I mean, it's just, I mean, you don't see that everywhere, right? Like just a big old sign what city you're in or what that city is, right?
Though sometimes if you're driving like going into Burbank, there's a big B painted on the side of a
I have
mountain,
family
you know?
in Montana, and they do the same thing. There, you see a big old letter on a mountain somewhere. Mm-hmm.
But only in Hollywood do you get a big flashy sign on the mountainside.
Yeah, we don't have anything like that up here. I mean, we have the Portland sign. That's pretty iconic with like a deer on it.
Right when you come in.
Yeah. And out here, all we have is when you're heading west on Interstate 90 out from North Bend to Issaquah, somebody has painted a giant 12 on the hillside.
Yes.
Which is the Seahawks. Like the Seahawks fans are the 12th man. And so it's just huge. I was like, that's very Seattle.
But did you see when you went last weekend, when you go into the Tri-Cities or Yakima, where it says the Palm Springs of Washington?
I saw that.
Palm Springs of Washington, big old sign.
And I also tried to get Rich interested in driving by the Quick Lock building, and he was not interested.
What? He doesn't listen. He did not listen to our episode about the Quick Locks.
My husband does not listen to our podcast.
I think that we need to find, every listener needs to find him and shame him. I don't know how. Does he have Facebook? I don't know.
Put him on blast. We're
husband
all
does.
shunning.
My husband does. He tells him all the time that's rude.
You know, we could talk all the crap we wanted to about my husband on this podcast, but then I guess that, you know,
he'll
the
never
problem
know.
is we talk about my husband and his small nipples and other things.
Other small things. What?
No, other things, not small things. He's like, how come people, I actually listen.
Okay, we love you, Keith. We won't talk about your tiny nipples anymore.
In our last episode that aired, I talked about how his grandparents both need to be committed.
We really air too much personal stuff on this podcast.
It's endearing. It's endearing.
Okay, so back to Hollywood Land.
Oh, I'm so excited. I did not know this. I've been there.
Cool.
I'm so glad to hear this history.
So let's face it, the golden years of Hollywood may be behind us, but the chance to be a star never stopped calling. The haunting allure of Hollywood captivates countless dreamers who yearn for stardom and fame, drawing them to a world where glitz and glamour truly reign supreme. The iconic palm trees, red carpets, and star-studded events create a mesmerizing backdrop that promises transformation from the ordinary to the extraordinary. For many, the notion of walking among legends, attending glamorous premieres, and basking in the glow of flashing cameras ignites a desire to be a part of a narrative much larger than themselves. Yet, beneath the shimmering surface lies a more complex reality, filled with both promise and rejection. The pursuit of fame in Hollywood can lead to profound isolation and disillusionment, as aspiring stars navigate a landscape filled with competition, rejection, and the ever-present pressure to conform to an image far from who you really are.
Oh, yeah. Plus the abuse. Let's not forget about the abuse.
Yeah.
Oh, tell me about it. All these people, sometimes they flood to Hollywood and they don't quite make it, and they end up being, Spider-Man in Hollywood and Highland.
Right. I think
asking people for photos.
Right.
Oh, yeah. I was accosted by them.
Yeah.
Wait, no, that was
actually
that was just the people outside of the Scientology building.
Oh, the Scientology building.
Was actually, when I visited, was actually shocking to me. When you are looking at the Hollywood stars, but you can't see all of them because somebody's homeless person sleeping on it. I was like, wait, where am I? Like that was what you see on TV when you don't live there. They make a big deal about the stars when they get placed, and it's a big ceremony, and you just assume the whole place looks like that. Whoa, I was surprised by that area.
Yeah, no, the second a star is probably cemented into the ground, it becomes a toilet.
I was about to say somebody pees on it
pretty quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. It was very bizarre to me. Like, this is a big deal. This is an honor. Oops. Psst.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the juxtaposition between these movie stars, Hollywood stars, and I did do one of the tours, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But like, to look at their homes they live in, those stars, what they represent, and then just a homeless person sleeping on it is just the juxtaposition of those two.
Between the haves and the have-nots.
Like, and then the whole thing with the tour buses that take you to the homes of the Hollywood stars. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's get on that. I mean, two of my daughters. And then, like, by the first house, we're like, oh my gosh, we're treating them like zoo animals. This is so bizarre.
You're hoping that they're gonna come out of their
cave. I was ducking. I didn't want to be seen. Like, suddenly I realized I'd made a bad decision.
You're sitting in the open van throwing popcorn at them.
Yeah.
Hoping they'll take a bite.
Yeah. I know that. Like, one guy sat out. He was like, oh yeah, he comes out. I can't remember who it was, but he was like, oh yeah, we saw him 2 days ago. Let's just sit here for a minute and see if he comes out. And I'm like, oh my gosh, am I at the zoo?
Well, I guess Richard
Simmons, lion, the sleeping lion.
Yeah.
Right? Richard Simmons used to love it when the tour buses would come by his house before he kind of went into seclusion.
Reclusive.
He used to come out and like come down to the end of his driveway and wave at everybody, and he would sign pictures and stuff like that. So some of them just like to interact, but yeah, it is kind of terrible how you get treated. And the best way, I think, to see a star in Hollywood is just to go out to a restaurant. As I have often bragged, I ate Thai food at the table next to Weird Al. Highlight of my life.
Well, here's the thing. We need to pay attention to this and take some tips and just be prepared for when we all become famous.
When we're all famous.
From our podcast.
People start throwing popcorn at us and we wonder why.
And it's going to be somebody's story. They're going to say, I ate pancakes next to Jody, Shea, and Ani.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're going to be someone's story one day. You'll see.
I have to say, we were on a tour when Shea's an hour tour guide for one of our local pretty gritty tours. I have to say it anyway, because we're his stalker.
I work for him now, though.
She mentioned during the tour that she, our podcast, and that I was a co-host, and pointed to me in the back of the room, and there was people that came up to me like, oh, you're Jody, and they were like totally in awe, and I was like, I was like, like, I don't know what, no. I didn't even know how to respond. It was the most awkward interaction. So truly, we gotta be a little. I don't think any tour buses are coming by, but oh boy, that was a shocker. What, you're impressed to see me? I'm just me.
You listen to this drivel?
And the other thing that shocked me was like, this is what I want. I wanted people to listen. I didn't want the adoration personally. Like, I wanted people to listen and really enjoy it. And I was just stunned by the fact that somebody did.
Tell me about it. When I started doing Audibly Haunted, I really didn't think anyone was going to listen to me. I was like, it's going to be my brother, my partner, and like the wind.
Yeah.
And the fact that people are actually listening and like reaching out and like want to be my friends, I was like, what?
Right.
I did not expect this at all.
Well, I have to say, I'm listening to your episodes and then listening to you again tonight. This confirms it. If I ask you a favor, I'd like to send you a list of my favorite authors, and then I'd like you to send samples to Audible, because I could listen to you all day. And I listen to Audible books a lot. And I'm just like, she should narrate all my books. I just love it.
Can I just send, we'll just send you our favorite books and you just do the audio book just privately for
don't
us.
even do Audible.
Happily. A one of one. I will be your personal Audible.
I don't know what it is about your voice, but it's amazing.
I know. I love it. Absolutely. Okay. We got to get back to this.
Yeah, go back to your
because you
story.
will forget where the hell you are. I forgot where the hell we were.
I digress.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, we were
So
talking about
we're
glitz
talking
and
about-
glamour, yeah. And
Glitz and glamour of Hollywood. But despite these challenges, the call of Hollywood persists, offering the possibility of transformation and validation, compelling individuals to chase their dreams against all odds, even if it means losing yourself or your life. Now, please welcome again Miss Peggy Entwistle, entering from stage right.
hi, Peggy.
Howdy, Peggy.
You're looking lovely today, Peggy. Nice dress.
Nice dress. She was born, how did I say it earlier? Millicent.
Oh my God, I ruined the name. Now you can't say it. Nobody can pronounce it now.
She was born Millicent Lillian Entwistle on February 5th, 1908 in Wales. In 1912, Peggy migrated to America with her father Robert, and they eventually settled in New York City. There is an odd air and mystery around her mother. I couldn't find anything, almost like she didn't exist. Like, she just kind of like disappeared. No one knows if she died, what happened, I don't know. But she came with her dad.
Well, I mean, a woman at that time, like, oh, who cares?
Nah,
She's disposable.
don't do it again. You know. She came to America with the lights of Hollywood, glitz and glamour in her eyes. Peggy began pursuing her stage career at 17 in New York, and by 1925, she appeared in several Broadway productions. A year later, Peggy was accepted into the prestigious New York Theater Guild, and by 1931, the Depression had hit hard, and plays almost closed as soon as they opened. Very distraught, Peggy abandoned New York and headed west to Los Angeles, where she moved in with one of her uncles. She decided the stage was not for her and came to LA hoping to pursue a film career instead. But with so many beauties flocking to the town during Hollywood's golden age, all of them seeking to be the next big thing, Peggy struggled to stand out and find roles. By the end of summer of 1932, Peggy had just completed her first big part in a film, a thriller called 13 Women. This was supposed to be what sent her to the major leagues of Hollywood. Within 13 Women, she was a major player in the film. But you see, Hollywood has a way of rewarding you. It gives you a bone, then, without warning, relentlessly beats you with it. Once she watched the final edit, she found that much of her performance, if not almost all of it, was cut from the final movie. And the film, it would actually go on to get poorly received reviews.
Karma.
Right? The film featured a very confusing and risque plot about sorority sisters who were manipulated into killing themselves or each other, and it also had a very big LGBT themed, which clashed for the morals of the
Way
time.
too early.
Grasp my pearls.
I know.
Oh,
Clutch my pearls.
That's basically why it got a bad review. You had everybody clutching pearls, and everyone was fainting in the movie theater because it was too risque.
I bet they were.
Can you imagine that? Having what it involved was a big lesbianism theme. So you mentioned lesbians in 1930. Everyone's like, oh my God, you might as well be a witch.
I can't believe that made it onto film.
I know.
In
That's-
1930.
I'm shocked.
That's pretty progressive,
Yeah.
actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Studios could lose everything for that.
Yeah,
back
that's what I
then.
was thinking.
I mean, yeah, because that brings me to my next point. Because of this, Peggy was let go from her studio contract with RKO, and she was left with no money and no backup plan.
And she wasn't even really in the film.
No.
She got cut
She had a
from most of
major
it.
role. She was a part of the major ensemble for the movie, and they just went in and totally cut her out.
And then she
And,
still lost her contract. Like, that is crazy.
And did you guys ever watch Constantine from the early 2000s with Keanu Reeves?
I love that movie.
That movie's so good. If you watch the movie, you know, at like the very end of it, there's like a girl who comes up to him and he throws water in her face and she goes, "Holy water?" That's the only line she has in the entire film.
Yeah.
I love that movie so much. I had the DVD for it. I ended up watching like all of the deleted scenes. She is in 90% of all of the deleted scenes.
Wow.
The only thing that stayed was the moment where she goes, "Holy water?" And I would, I used to do theater and acting all the time, and that just mortifies me.
That makes sense. I can hear it in your voice.
So was she like when he would go to hell?
She was like a demon that was, she was a demon that lived on Earth with him. Like she kept coming in and out of scenes, and she was like flirty with him and like sexy with him. And then they just totally just axed her out of the whole thing.
I feel like that would have been so good to see. Was it just because Keanu Reeves isn't the greatest actor?
Oh,
and maybe his part of it was like real stiff and weird. I love him to death, but he's not the greatest actor.
Yeah, why talk about such an amazing human being like that?
I'm sorry. I just ruined everything. I'm gonna have to cut that whole part about saying anything bad about Keanu Reeves. He is a treasure. And
Once again, we've let balloons go into the air and Shea goes,
boop, boop, boop.
Popped them.
Why am I like this? What am I wrong in my life?
I'm going to shock Shea right now, and I'm going to tell you I've never seen the movie.
Oh my God, that's not surprising. That's why I wasn't even looking at Jody when I was having this conversation with you about a great movie, because she will not have seen it. Have you seen the movie A Princess Bride?
I've seen clips of it.
If you put that movie on and mute it, I can recite it word for word
That'd
for
be
you.
so cute.
Okay, so my husband and I were at a wedding this weekend, and the ceremony started out, marriage. Marriage is why we are here today.
On purpose?
Yes, and he went through the whole thing, and everybody in the crowd, except for my husband,
I would have been wondering, what the hell?
Was cracking up because he had no idea what was going on.
Oh my God.
And everybody else was like, "It's the Princess Bride."
Oh my God, that's amazing.
And he's like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't seen it."
Well, I was shocked to hear that Fred Savage was like really the character that it was all focused on, right? I mean,
well, he was just a kid that the grandpa was telling
the story.
So he's like, he's barely in
like
it.
A grandpa and a boy were like telling the story of the
grandpa
princess boy.
was telling the story to his sick grandson.
Yeah.
That was
I was surprised that that's what this story was for. A grandpa and his grandson, I guess, is what I was trying to say.
A classic.
A classic. Okay.
It truly is a classic.
I'm waiting.
It's life-changing.
My grandkids are getting old enough to watch it now, so maybe I'll watch it with them.
Yeah, because there's nothing really inappropriate. There's just a little scary.
I mean, that's how a
little scary.
Okay.
Unless you count the rodents of unusual size. Those are a little scary.
Yeah, there's a little scary stuff.
So 7 and 8, you think that's a good age? 7 and 8?
Yeah, no, it's not. There's like a drop of blood in it. It's super sarcastic. They might not get all the jokes.
Yeah, I don't think
they're
going to get all the jokes, but I don't think there's anything in there that would be inappropriate.
What I mean is, will they watch it before they like more than 10 minutes?
No,
not that age. No, they need to be
we
like
wait a little bit. Okay.
10, 11,
I'd give it a
12.
few more years.
Yeah.
Especially when they're together. Forget that.
Yeah.
There's nothing like enticing. There's no fun colors and things, so I don't think they'll.
But have watched
sit down and
Labyrinth.
watch it.
Okay.
Labyrinth will give them nightmares. Labyrinth gives me nightmares.
Okay, my husband let them watch Chucky.
Oh my God. Yeah, no.
I walked in the room and they'd been watching it for probably 15 minutes or something. And I'm like, no.
What are you doing?
You want them to be banned from our house? And then they wanted to watch it so badly that I showed them the making of, but they still got nightmares. I'm like, no, like it's a little robot. It just showed you all the pieces. Like it's not even real.
Oh my God.
I still got in trouble.
You want to give them a little uneasiness. I don't know if you guys ever watched Return to Oz.
Oh my God, that one
Wizard of Oz sequel.
Yes.
I haven't.
With the chick from The Craft.
Oh,
yes.
very scary.
That's such a good film, but it's a little like off-putting. But that one's a fun one.
It is. It's underrated too.
Totally.
They oddly
Most
really
people don't know
like
about
the
it.
Wizard of Oz. I was going to turn it off because I thought they'd get scared, but they were like all in, and no one got scared.
Okay.
So maybe I can go there.
Okay, back to the
story, because here we go again.
Cut out of it. I know. We could digress again.
We need to hang out with Ani is what needs to happen.
I swear.
I know.
Well, Peggy got cut out of her big movie. She got let go of her contracts, and she has no money and no backup plan. She is completely broken. September 16th, 1932. She left her uncle's bungalow on Beechwood Drive, telling him she was going to meet some friends at a nearby drugstore. However, this was not the truth. She ventured to Griffith Park and began the climb through the canyon to the Hollywood sign. The following morning, Peggy's bed remained empty, and the local news was abuzz about something absolutely unheard of. According to the local news reports, and they ranged all the way from California to Maine, the next day, a female hiker found a shoe, jacket, and purse scattered on the mountain below the sign. Inside the purse was a suicide note that read, "I am afraid, I am a coward, I am sorry for everything. If I had done this a long time ago, it would have saved a lot of pain," and signed with the initials P.E. The unidentified hiker looked about 100 feet down the mountain and saw a body and called the police. Peggy's uncle later identified her remains, and her cause of death was ruled a suicide. You want to know the real kicker to this story? It is said that the day after her body was discovered, she received a letter in the mail. This letter was an offer to play the main role in an upcoming film. It would have officially been her big break. And what was the role exactly? Coincidentally, it was about a woman who was driven to suicide.
Oh, man.
Oh, wow.
That's creepy.
Hollywood's writing real life stories here, you know? It's the irony of it all.
So she did commit suicide. That was not a note written by. That broke my heart. That note.
Yeah.
I was hoping that it wasn't true and that somebody actually murdered her. Like, I didn't want her to actually feel that way and kill herself. That's awful.
Yeah. But you see, the lure of Hollywood is so strong that it even calls from the other side. The wish and want for fame transcends from the afterlife into reality, because Peggy still makes herself known to this day. There have been many sightings of Peggy since her death. The smell of gardenia perfume was a favorite of hers. So you will often witness ghostly happenings with the hints of gardenias in the air, which, if you've been up to the Hollywood sign, is definitely a shocker considering it's nothing but dry bushes.
Yep.
You know, so it's a big deal. Joggers, hikers, park rangers, and, well, trespassers have all witnessed Peggy. She is always dressed in 1930s clothing with a sad or confused expression, walking on the path or floating on the hill, and often accompanied is her favorite scent. According to park ranger John Arbogast, he's seen her several times late at night when conditions are just foggy enough. It seems that she has never fully escaped the area that killed her dream. The H that she jumped from fell over in 1949 and needed to be fixed. Could it have been something to do with her? Who knows? But Peggy, to this day, remains one of California's most quintessential ghosts and legends. So the next time you look up at the Hollywood sign, or maybe even take the hike up to it, take a good look at the letter H. You might just see Peggy standing there, forever stuck in a loop to relive her last moments over and over again. Ta-da!
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Wow. That is just such a great story. I'm all wrapped up in it.
I know. We're just sitting here like entranced. I'm sitting here thinking, I was like, God, you're so good. You should start a podcast.
No, like read all my books for me. I don't have time. I don't like to sit and read because I like to get up and go and have my headphones
do stuff.
in.
Yeah.
I do stuff. And so but I can't listen to a book that doesn't have a good
Oh my gosh.
You're just so amazing. Also, I feel like poor Peggy, but also
I
she
know.
is such a symbol for that story of Hollywood. You know,
Chew 'em
all
up,
these people,
spit them out.
all these people that went there with these big dreams and these big goals.
Yep.
How about
and-
Frances Farmer? There's another tie-in.
Yeah,
Same
Frances
era.
Farmer. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or the Black Dahlia, I think, was a few years later.
Yes.
You know, she wanted to be a star, and she became a star just in another kind of way.
Yep.
goodness.
It's just such a Hollywood story. I mean, there's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
That was
I
such a
know.
good story.
It's
Oh my
such a good
gosh.
It's one of my favorites.
I've never heard about the ghost of the
Really?
Hollywood sign. That is so cool.
And I've been there.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Yeah.
Same. But I had heard about it years ago, and I first heard about it from a episode of Ghost Adventures. Do you guys ever watch Ghost Adventures?
No.
With Zach Bagans?
Because we get irritated by the ghost hunting shows because they're.
They always say, "Oh, it's about to happen," and they go to commercial and they come back and go, "Oh yeah, that was nothing."
I totally feel that. You know, like Ghost Hunters does that to you. It's a pretty big boner killer.
Yeah.
I had this ghost boner on and then I just deflated.
And then they talked about my mom.
No, usually they go in and they're like, "Oh, do you feel that? Oh, I feel it. Do you feel that? Oh, I totally
We're
feel
getting
it."
a reading.
Yeah.
We'll tell you what it was after the break.
But also just
Yeah,
like,
no.
"Oh, do you feel that?" I was like,
What
that
you
tells me
feeling?
nothing. What? also, what? You just are like saying you feel a thing that doesn't prove anything. Sorry.
It's my,
Shea
what
ruins
they're
everything.
feeling is the piss running down their leg. You know, you can't
Right.
catch that on camera.
Right.
But
Well, if they did, then I'd freaking believe it. I'm just kidding.
If they just poop their pants,
Right.
that
Oh
is
my
what make
God.
me a believer. So they should poop their pants more on camera, and then I would believe they were experiencing what they say they're experiencing.
have you seen that South Park made fun of them? Do you guys watch South Park?
Yeah, sometimes.
South
My
Park made
husband
fun
is.
of them. There was an episode where all the ghost hunters ate Chipotle, and they're ghost hunting, and they're all pooping themselves, and they're like, "Did you feel that? Did you feel that?" But it's really just they've crapped themselves.
I can't believe they used Chipotle instead of Taco
Oh,
Bell.
the big joke through South Park is Chipotle.
Oh,
They
that's
even had this
funny.
like
Yeah.
Chipotle away spray to
Oh,
like clean your
no,
underwear.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, they really hate Chipotle on South Park. That was
I
a great
recommend.
story. Well,
That was a
thank you.
great
I'm
story.
glad you guys enjoyed it.
And we are so sorry that we continually interrupted you.
I mean, it
Oh,
is
no.
part of our episodes.
I mean, it's our
That is-
thing.
I digress.
I feel like I've been
It's-
christened.
That's what
I've
you
been
signed up
christened.
for.
I really
Yeah, that's
think
what
we
I
should do
signed up
this
for.
again. We should do this again. This was a lot of fun, Ani. You fit right in with us.
Yes, I
Oh,
love this.
I had a lot. This was very fun.
Well, listeners, I hope you have enjoyed our little tour through Pacific Northwest and Golden State spooky stories. Thank you, Ani, so much for bringing us that excellent story about Hollywood.
My pleasure. And thank you all for having me.
I love the delivery. I could listen to her forever.
I know.
I could listen to you forever, Ani.
I know, I love it. Well, that's also why I kept her on the phone for an hour and a half
I
last
know.
time, because I just like listening to her
We
voice.
do need to just hang out, Ani.
I know.
Send me your books. I'll be your personal Audible. I got
my
you guys.
God, I
You want
love
me to
it.
read your work emails for you? I'll make it more
Oh my
enjoyable.
God.
Oh my God.
Can I change Siri to Ani?
We will do this again. So please, if
Definitely.
you enjoyed this episode, go on and follow Audibly Haunted on any of the podcast apps that you listen to. Make sure that you leave a rating and review for Ani and her wonderful work. And also, you can find us on social media and leave us a comment and tell us that you want more Ani.
Ani, do you have a website?
Really, my main website is just going to be the Instagram.
Okay, perfect.
that's where all of the news is and everything.
Good job.
And it's just Audibly Haunted. It's very easy to find.
Yep.
Audibly
Yep.
Haunted. There's
Audibly
a
Haunted.
cute little ghost with a book. Very easy.
Mhm. I'm the only one.
You are. You're one of a kind.
You
I'm
are.
one of a kind.
All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Don't forget, you can go to Rainy Day Rabbit Holes to find everything. Links to Ani's Instagram and more of our episodes. And also, you can sign up for our newsletter. So at the top of the page, just put in your email where it says, "Do you want 10% off for Pretty Gritty Tours?" That'll get you signed up for our newsletter. And don't forget that you can also sign up for our Patreon right there on the website. All right. Well, thank you so much, you guys. Thank you, Ani, and we will see you next time.
Thank you. Have a good one. Dow, you'll definitely see me next time.
Yes. See you down the rabbit hole.